Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene drew outrage from Conservatives yet again, this time after meeting with the progressive activist group CodePink.
The organization's co-founder, Medea Benjamin, posted a picture on X of the meeting and wrote, "We visited Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene today to thank her for becoming such a strong anti-war voice in Congress and tell her we will miss her."
This, of course, comes after Greene announced last month that she will be resigning from Congress. She's had a tumultuous year with her own Republican Party, frequently criticising key figures like President Trump and House Speaker Mike Johnson. Some Conservatives view this meeting with CodePink as another example of Greene turning her back on the GOP. CodePink has run a campaign for several years called "China is not our enemy" and has been accused by some of having ties to the Chinese Communist Party and to Iran, but it has repeatedly denied those allegations.
MTG's meeting with the group was unsurprisingly blasted by Conservatives online. Loomer, we love Loomer, writing on X, "Wow, Marjorie Taylor Greene's transformation into a full-blown radical leftist is almost complete. CodePink is fangirling over MTG and she is taking pics with them, all while knowing their open ties to the CCP and the Iranian regime. She has no principles or integrity." And New York Congressman Mike Lawler says, "When the Chinese Communist Party-sponsored anti-Semite is praising you, we have a problem."
But MTG responded to the backlash because of course she did. She says she's found common ground with the organisation, and she writes, "I'm America first and fully against funding foreign wars and support peace because that's good for everyone, especially the most innocent people, children. I have enjoyed a friendship with Medea for a few years now, even though politics says that's not allowed. I've learned to find bridges with others, and that's how we all win and ultimately leads to peace."
Okay.
Well, this is a very interesting one. Marjorie Taylor Greene and CodePink was not the marriage made in heaven I expected a few months ago.
Not on my 2025 bingo card.
Definitely not. The issue of the alleged links to CCP with CodePink we can get into in a second. The one thing, I can't believe how many times recently I've been defending Marjorie Taylor Greene, but that is surely a consequence of her very peculiar political shift. The one thing I'd say on this issue that was raised by a couple of those Republicans about CodePink and where it draws its funding is, unless you're following that story pretty closely, you may not genuinely be aware of that. CodePink has been around for a long time. I associate it going back to the days of the Iraq War, and I generally find or assume its defining principle to be opposition to wars, period. Now, if Marjorie Taylor Greene is moving in that direction, as she claims to be, it's not in that sense so surprising that she would meet them. It's not, I don't think, necessarily evidence that she, I don't know, is somehow soft on the Chinese Communist Party, for example.
No, I think actually the greater objection from the right should be that these people are constantly showing up to hearings for GOP nominees and being very disruptive, of having these very raucous protests in state houses and in the Capitol building, and just genuinely being annoying nuisances who like shout at any.
Well, that's their whole modus operandi, right?
It's annoying. I find them to be just obnoxious, but nonetheless, I think looking at this Marjorie Taylor Greene shift, I was talking to some Republican insiders, we'll call them, about this. And what they were saying was, if you want to know if someone's reason for resigning from Congress, and Marjorie Taylor Greene's stated reason is she's concerned about the death threats and she doesn't feel like she's able to make a difference anymore, so she's stepping away from politics. If you want to know if that's sincere, then you watch what they do afterwards, right? And Marjorie Taylor Greene has been all over the media, MS Now, not MSNBC anymore, MS Now, CNN, The View. She's taking the pictures with the CodePink, and it's like, okay, you're so worried about your safety allegedly, but you are actually only elevating your profile even greater and being more vocal in your opposition to President Trump, who you claim is behind the increase in death threats. To me, that doesn't really square.
Yeah, it will. You know, just as a general matter of like politics, it'll be interesting to see what she does do next and whether it is some media type role. Again, I do get back to the fact that whatever her motivations might be, she was the first Republican on Capitol Hill to describe Israel's actions in Gaza as a genocide. She has been very critical generally, not only of US support for Israel, but of these foreign wars. She has been, I think, very vocal on the idea that a lot of those enterprises are a distraction from what she sees as an America First agenda. There is, I think, a legitimacy to that critique. Now, she may be doing it because, as some people say, Trump stopped or, well, argued against her running for Senate. She may be doing it for some other personal motivation. But the fundamental arguments she's making in those respects seem to me to have a certain amount of validity to them.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I think you can have the wrong motivation for something, but still arrive at the right conclusion.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
that's probably what's happening with her. I think one of the really most fascinating parts of her tenure in Congress is she comes in without a Trump endorsement. She is completely on an island. She is stripped of her committee assignments because of the conspiracy theories that she was writing about on social media. And she ends up becoming a beloved ally of the president. She's a really proud, vocal member of the Republican Party who is sort of carrying the torch on across the media space. And then she's leaving exactly how she started. No Trump endorsement. In fact, even a threat of a primary challenge if she had not said that she intended to resign in January, and seemingly completely isolated from her colleagues in the Republican conference.
Well, that's true, though I guess I would say that being isolated from one's colleagues is not necessarily evidence that one is wrong.
Oh, no, I don't
right?
mean it as a pejorative. I just think she's really gone full circle.
Yeah, no, she has.
From just an observational standpoint.
Yeah, no, that's true. She has become, once again, isolated for all of these different reasons. And now the congressional career, which was fairly brief, is coming to an end, and we'll see where it goes from there. Up next, SZA joins a growing number of artists condemning the Trump administration for using their music. Her rebuke of the White House and what we think about it coming up after this.